Alright, you guys, so in today's video, I am going to be kind of just sitting here, chatting with you guys about whatever. I haven't really picked like a specific theme for this video because, I don't know, I felt like I had a lot on my mind, and I really wanted to focus on the fact that I am drawing something that I love to draw. And just kind of enjoy the fact that I really love this spread. I love everything about it, the way it turned out, and I kind of just wanted to sit down and have a relaxed chat and show you guys a spread that I'm really proud of. So, if that sounds like something you would enjoy, I'm Rory Fluent. Feel free to call me Rory. If you're new around here, hi, hello, how are you? Let me know in the comments down below. I like to create dope art content and hopefully curate a chill atmosphere. And if you're not new around here, what is up, my dudes? Let's get into this video. So, as you can see, I am doodling up some chickens, and not just any chickens. I was really being specific because I had not yet, I guess as a side point, I had not yet drawn chickens in the sketchbook, and they're like my favorite thing to doodle ever. So I was like, what the fuck am I doing? How have I not drawn chickens in this sketchbook yet? Let's go ahead and rectify that. So I decided to really think about how I wanted to draw these chickens and think about the animal in comparison to my style and the way that I like to draw things and the subject matter that I like to draw. And I really wanted to just make these chickens feel like my own. Which sounds funny because it's like, I've been drawing chickens forever, but that's like kind of the problem, is that I've been drawing them for so long that I kind of fell into this rhythm with them, and I kind of had this understanding of what they look like in my quote-unquote style. And then as my style evolved, I haven't really had the opportunity to sort of, I suppose you might say, update the way that I draw chickens. I don't know, I felt like I couldn't quite fit the chickens into the strange, kind of silly, goofy, sometimes macabre and morbid things that I like to draw. And so for this particular spread, I sat down and I was like, I gotta draw some damn chickens. I have to get them in the sketchbook page, and I gotta make them look cool. And not to ignore what's currently happening in the video, my cat, of course, had to join the fun and sit on this particular page while I was trying to finish it. So you'll see me have a pretty long back and forth with him, honestly. He sat there for a lot longer than he normally does. I guess he was just really interested in watching me draw chickens, and also interested in making it more difficult for me to draw chickens. But yeah, with all of that being said, I was just having a blast taking this subject matter that I've drawn so much and really dissecting what makes my style and integrating it into these chicken doodles. Because again, I've drawn them so many times, and I feel like each time that I've drawn them, as my style has progressed and changed, I feel like the one thing that never really changed was the way that I draw chickens. And so I kind of wanted to fix that, and I really wanted to take a second and be like, how can I make these kind of strange and draw them in a way that makes me laugh? Because that's always my benchmark. Is the way that I'm drawing these things, or the way that I'm going about creating them, making me laugh at the way that they look and at the end product. And I can safely say that this sketchbook spread is a bit of a mess and very chaotic, but in a way that I found a lot of joy in, and I hope that you guys do too. And of course, I was really, really happy with the way that the doodles turn out. I will say there was a lot about this spread that did not go my way, and specifically when I was focusing on the other page, I was having just one hell of a time figuring out what the fuck I was doing. I mean, there's one point where you're going to kind of see this jump cut where the entire page is green, and I chose not to include those parts because I specifically wanted you guys to see my process, and I figured I could just own up to it and chat about it here in the video. But I did at one point paint that entire other page green, and I was kind of gonna have this typography, sort of just experimentation on that page, and I was thinking I might even do it on every page in the spread, because I was feeling a little bit like I was falling out of love with this particular sketchbook. It was taking me a lot longer than they normally do to complete, and I was just getting a little overwhelmed, I think, particularly on this day when I was beginning to paint and try to complete the sketchbook spread. And so I painted the whole background green on the other page. I went ahead and fucked around with some typography and stuff, which I might even include here, like little snippets of what I'm talking about, because I'm not ashamed to show my mistakes, but at the same time, I had other footage that I wanted to show you guys that I felt, I guess I just felt like it would be time better spent showing you guys more of my process with the chickens and to just explain what went horribly wrong with the other part of this spread. So yeah, I ended up like sitting down, taking an hour and a half after my job and trying to complete the second page, and it just, I don't know. I really enjoyed the process of creating it, and I thought everything was fine. And then I kind of went to go to bed, and I was just feeling particularly anxious, and I do think that that affected the way that I saw the spread as a whole. However, I think I probably would have been a little bit dissatisfied with it no matter what, because it just wasn't exactly what I wanted, and the colors weren't looking right, and then all of that green everywhere was like really jarring, and it wasn't really looking the way that I had envisioned in my head. And so I was just like, you know what, it's fine, we've done it before, I'm gonna scrap it, and I'm going to just paste another piece of paper over the top and start from scratch. And the reason that that was particularly stressful this week is because I have not had a lot of time, and I'm kind of trying to alternate between Procreate and my sketchbook and trying to get like an appropriate amount of content from both digital and traditional media, and I'm trying not to really like skip out on one or the other because I know how important both of them are to me right now. And so this week, I really wanted to complete a sketchbook spread, but they are so much more time consuming than Procreate paintings. And honestly, I've been a little bit afraid that I'm gonna get so used to and so, maybe not used to, but like, I'm going to want to draw and Procreate so much more because the process is just much more simple and much easier and faster and efficient for me at the moment, that it's going to make me not want to complete sketchbook spreads because, well, they're so much more difficult and they take up so much more time. And especially when I don't really have a lot of time to spare, it's a little difficult to want to convince myself to complete a sketchbook spread. And I guess what I'm sitting down and talking to you guys about right now is some of the stressors that I've had as an artist at the moment, because I'm really trying to figure out the way that I like to paint traditionally and how that compares, I guess is the right word, how that compares to how I paint in Procreate. And through this journey of self-discovery, or more like art discovery, that a lot of you guys have been a part of for, I don't know, since the beginning of this channel, which is like 9 or 10 months now. Actually, I think we're at 11 months. We're almost at a year, but that's a side point anyways. If you've been around for a little bit, you know that I've been trying to figure out how to complete sketchbook spreads and traditional painting in a way that I find satisfying. Specifically as satisfying as I do my Procreate paintings. And that has been a serious push and pull, and sometimes sitting down and completing a spread has just been a major pain in my ass. And this spread was no different. It put up a fight. It did not want to do what I wanted it to do. It wanted to be really frustrating and difficult and time consuming, and you know, I'm starting to realize that honestly, I think a lot of that is just the traditional media process. I'm really not sure that there's any escaping the amount of time that it's going to take to create something traditionally versus in Procreate, especially because in Procreate you have all these malleable, very, changeable aspects to it, like the layers and merging layers and rearranging things, where traditionally once you put something on the page, you have to actually physically find a way to cover it up if you want to change it. And this process was incredibly discouraging. You can see at this point in the video that there's a little chick poking out from the bottom of the other page of the spread, and that's because at this point I had taken a moment, I had sketched out some chickens in my free time, and really came to love the sketches, and so I was like, okay, I am going to complete this spread, and I'm going to do it this week, and I'm going to have a video for you guys. I have been so hell-bent on doing everything in my power to get my traditional pieces and my traditional sketchbook spreads to look the way that I want them to. And I guess I should have thought that this spread was going to be no different. It was going to be just as difficult and put up just as much of a fight. But what was really exciting about it is that at the end, for once, it actually felt worth it. Like, holy shit. I know it probably doesn't even look like it right now, but trust me, by the end of this video, this spread turns out really fucking good. I just feel like it finally had some sort of extra oomph to it that really made it feel like an accomplishment, like something that I had completed and I was proud of, just like I feel when I'm done with a Procreate painting. And so that was really cool because I was like, holy shit, there's nothing that I immediately want to change on this spread now that it's complete or need to alter, I don't know, just don't feel as confident in. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed and enjoy looking at every single little doodle on this page, and that just makes me really fucking happy. I really wanted these chickens to be strange and odd and a little goofy, and I wanted them to be fun to look at, and I can definitely say that I did that. I made them look the way that I wanted them to, and honestly, I feel like they have like this smoothness to them, especially by the end, and just kind of like this simplicity. They're not overly complex because I have a problem with doing that in my traditional media, just trying to, in an effort, I guess, to capture what I do in Procreate, adding too many layers of things, too many textures, too many colors, and it all just kind of becoming this amalgamation of too much. And this particular spread, I just didn't struggle with that. I felt like there was the right amount of time spent on each individual sketch. If I didn't want to spend as much time on something, I didn't feel like it ended up looking strange or worse for it. And I really enjoyed that there was like a lot going on the page at any particular like moment that you look at it, or rather from any particular angle or sketch that you're looking at. I feel like there's always something else to kind of peek at and find, and I found that to be really helpful to making like the sketchbook spread the way that I wanted it to be, and to be as engaging and intricate and cool. And yeah, okay, I'm starting to feel like I'm rambling, so I kind of want to find like another topic or something to pick up on so I'm not just boring you with the same rambles over and over again. You know, I don't know why I got so interested in sort of like these strangely cutesy, gruesome doodles. I feel like I just have like a lot of inspiration around like, maybe not like dead things, but like some of my favorite artists, or at least current artists in pop culture right now, are like Lavender Town or Funwood on Instagram. You know, I love these sort of like strange themes, and I'm really kind of, I don't know, the ideas of like lots of eyeballs and gooey things and dripping and oozing, like all of that is really appealing to me, and I love being able to integrate that kind of like theming into my sketches and just kind of into my art world, I guess you could say. And I was really trying with these chickens not to just be like, oh, I'm just gonna, throw a bunch of shit at them and try to make them creepy or whatever. I was trying to kind of have a purpose, like I have this little intro sequence with this sheepy guy and these eyeballs, and I'm like, okay, so how can I integrate that into the way that I draw chickens and into the way that I just draw my subject matter in general? And I remembered my spooky page that I drew, that I have a video of up on my YouTube channel, obviously, and I remember really enjoying having this like decapitated crow, and I was like, I wonder if I could kind of do something like that with the chickens. And then I really wanted to draw some like little wormy guys, so I end up doing that on the other spread, or the other part of the spread. And I've always loved intricate background details, and I've slowly been working them in, like with unlined textures, like with marker or not colored pencil, watercolor. And you'll kind of see them here, like with the gooey strands of like pink. I'll add some to the top right corner of this particular page of the spread, and they'll be kind of like unlined without any ink, just kind of like texture. And I really enjoy that in a sketchbook spread. And I don't know if any of you guys would have watched like Jazzo way back when. I don't really watch their content anymore, but when I used to, one of the big things they would do is take like a block of color and then add texture to that block of color behind a particular sketch that they really liked on their page. And I have tried over and over and over again to find a way to integrate those blocks of color into my goddamn sketchbook spreads, and I just haven't been able to figure it out. And so it was so cool when I finally sat down and, I don't know, something clicked with this spread, and I went, okay, I think I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna add them, and I think it's gonna work this time. And honestly, I think it did. But when it comes to like what inspires me, I have been consuming art content probably for the last 7 years consistently. For a long time, one of the biggest inspirations to me was a YouTuber, a rather big YouTuber here in the art community called Gel Arts, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with their work. And I adored the way that they documented their journey, and I really enjoyed these really cute, very simple seeming designs with really soft colors, very earthy colors and earthy tones. And then I also loved watching Casey Golden. And so like those were two very different artists that I loved their personalities and their art content and what they drew, and I consumed a lot of their content throughout the years. As I got a bit older and started just kind of consuming more animated content, I would say, I started to kind of go on this art book journey. I adore Steven Universe, Kung Fu Panda, video games like Dead Cells and Hyperlight Drifter, and I feel like you can kind of see this sort of like I don't know, you could say like all of this information congealed inside of me and into my art brain, and I kind of just like have this piecemeal together style of parts of other people's drawings and illustrations that I adore and love, and I kind of just like throw it all down on a page is what it feels like at this point. And sure, I'm making conscientious choices that are beyond the original people and styles that I took inspiration from, but I know that those styles are still there and those people have still had a huge influence on me. And that's not to mention that throughout this channel, I've talked about really old art concepts and old art movements like Impressionist. You've got the textural irregularities of Art Deco and like the flat shapes of Cubism and all kinds of things that you could go into what make up the basics of just kind of art in general. And yes, I've studied all of them. I've studied so many artists. I went to graphic design school. A lot of what I studied had to do with both like traditional artists and graphic designers, and I definitely don't think that like my art style reflects what I learned in design school specifically. Like, being a traditional artist, or really any artist at all, versus a designer are two very different things. However, I will say that my design degree has played a huge part in my process as I am sketching and drawing and painting, and the way that I go about, I guess, like, looking at a painting or a doodle, because I view them as problems that need solved, and I go about them very systematically in terms of like finding references, iterating, building a final piece or a final doodle, the way that I sketch, the kind of skeleton that makes up my process is all found in my design process. However, drawing strange little doodles honestly just comes from liking strange little things. I made a very conscious effort, because back when I was learning and growing and developing through and with Art YouTube, it was really huge to kind of pressure artists into having some sort of style. And so I took a lot of time to think about specific details and things that other people did, and then how to make them my own and how to create something out of them that did not look or feel or exist as a copied version of someone else's, but was just this amalgamation of concepts that I had learned and noted from years of watching people and things and ideas and just watching all of this art being created. And okay, so what art do I want to make? That's basically what I sat down and asked myself. And what came out was a bunch of weird shit. And that's still where I'm at, where I kind of asked myself one day as I continued in this sketchbook rather recently, and I was like, what the hell do I want to draw? What is the kind of shit that I want to create and put out into this world? And my answer was weird shit. And so when I sit down to do something, that's the question that I ask myself before anything else. If I'm ever stuck in a rut, I go back to the whole collection of art books that I have of so many unique and interesting artists. I mean, we have stuff from like Unstable Games, which I love their little chibi art. We've got the art of like Paranorman and Kubo and Box Trolls from Leica Studios, which I adore. I've got like video game franchises like God of War and Uncharted 4 because I absolutely love their backgrounds, and right now I'm currently in a background obsession trying to figure out how I want to draw backgrounds. And we've got so many other, like Puss in Boots, we've got Turning Red, or Mitchell's vs. the Machines on Netflix. I have lots of niche art, like I would say I heavily pull inspiration from Cult of the Lamb, Death's Door, Hollow Knight. I absolutely love indie games. They are a fantastic source of inspiration, and they are definitely where I get a lot of mine from, that's for sure. And I suppose just to bring it all back around a little bit to my design degree and sort of like the core of what made me better as an artist, I was an artist, and a traditional artist specifically, before I started my degree. When I ended my degree, I was both a traditional and digital artist, as well as obviously a designer. And so being in design, it's a lot more technical and specific. There are rules to follow, and those rules genuinely do dictate whether or not your design work is good or bad. And because of this really rigorous and intense process of how I needed to complete my designs and how I went about completing finalized works of design, I realized that just the practice and the progress I made in my design degree translated to I guess you could say like a major improvement in my art. Even though I was not actively drawing and painting or really doing anything in my sketchbook because my degree and my projects took up so much time, those projects were still using these base traditional skills. I still had a pencil, a paper, a giant-ass sketchbook, and oh my god, just more sketches than you knew what the hell to do with. And those sketches would become iterations that I would then, improve on and create dozens more of the same idea and concept, and then I would finalize, and then I would pull it into something digitally, like Adobe, some sort of Adobe, like Illustrator or InDesign, and then I would further finalize that piece. And so this really rigorous process that I made for myself, because everyone's design process is different, then translated into being more efficient in my art journey, I guess you could say. And all of that really weirdly, like, inadvertent traditional media, like, practice made it so that when I sat down and sketched in my sketchbook, I am incredibly fast at sketching. I can do it well, I can do it fast, and I can do it in a way that I really enjoy. But painting wasn't as much a part of my degree. Color theory, sure, but painting, not so much. And that's where I find that I struggle the most in my sketchbook spreads. Digital painting I'm a bit more familiar with. You do a little bit more kind of like color blocking, and you can use textures and things digitally in design, or you can create illustrations and use them as a piece of your design, which I've done plenty of times. But when it comes to actually like physically painting, that was not a part of my degree at all. So that explains, I guess, why I struggle so much with finishing like complete traditional pieces, because I'm just not familiar with how that process of painting works. And I feel like my skill level in all other facets of art is way more advanced than what it is with traditional painting. And this particular spread helped convince me that maybe it's not as far off, as in like being good at or feeling good about my traditional painting isn't as far off as I think it is. So yeah, I guess I'm going to leave you guys off with this little look at the finalized spread. I really hope that you enjoyed this chatty video. I know it didn't have like a super specific point, but I feel like I had like so much going on in my head the entire time I was creating this thing. And I really just wanted you guys to join me on this journey and enjoy these chickens. And so with that, I'm gonna go ahead and say feel free to do the YouTube-y things like comment and subscribe. If you don't know what to comment, feel free to comment algorithm, and hopefully I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye!